realized that I've actually broken up with somebody in the past because he wasn't giving me money. Not the person that would ask a man to give me money. You should be able to have sense to the point where you're like, okay, let me help this girl with transportation fare. And so when I see people on internet sometimes saying, I'm inviting a person to dinner, the person is paying, yes, except you don't know the financial capability of this person, or you assume because you're seeing that this person wears nice clothes and posts on the internet every now and then, you think, oh, they are financially capable. Because of the way social media has made not having money look, people are now ashamed to come out and say, oh, I'm living earnestly, and because I have so and so responsibilities to cater to for this month, I cannot afford to come out and see you. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rave with Mara podcast. On the show today, we are going to be answering two questions that were sent in by two people. Actually, one was sent in, and then the other one, my friend had asked me to discuss it with him, I think about 2 weeks ago. Yes, and I asked his permission to read it on the podcast and talk to you guys about it. Now, off of that, I have a bit of good news that I want to share. I know it may seem really small, but for me, it's a really big news. But we will go on a short break now. When we come back from the short break, we'll get to jump into the conversation. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Again, if you are not aware, I am Mara Abutu on YouTube. I'm Rave with Mara on Spotify and other podcasting platforms that there is. If you have not been following the show, please, I beg you, this is the time for you to subscribe on YouTube and follow on Spotify and other podcasting platforms. Please always subscribe and share. Please always like, comment, and share. I beg you guys, please. I beg you guys. Now, on to the good news. For a lot of you guys that may not be aware, you guys have checked within the last 2 weeks, my subscription has doubled. Yes, my subscribers have doubled, basically. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what I did exactly to deserve this sort of love, but I'm more than grateful to you guys. I am absolutely grateful to you guys. To my new subscribers, thank you and welcome to the show. If you are just joining us for the first time, again, my name is Maranatha Abutu. And if you like to call me something more native, something more Nigerian, my name is Ene. E-N-E. Ene. Yeah, I'm really happy. And I know I was complaining about last month or 2 months ago that my subscriber has remained at the same number. Only for me to wake up like 2 or 3 weeks ago and all of a sudden I started to get new subscribers. It was like 2 at first. I was like, oh, okay. I don't want to jinx this thing. And I had to message my brother about it, like, yo, are you seeing what's happening? And he said, because he always texts me about my numbers, and he's always like, oh, I know a lot of people who have been on this YouTube saying, don't give up, don't worry. I know somebody who started like so many years ago, and he's just now starting to blow up and whatnot. And he was like, he's just saying it. So I got the courage that day. I was so worried. I think I posted on my Instagram. Yes, I had posted on my Instagram. Only a few people caught it, as of when it was 500, which was last week or 2 weeks ago now. And all of a sudden, that night, I got like 15 new subscribers. And I was like, yo, I can't keep quiet anymore. And I went to post it on my WhatsApp, and people were like, oh, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And I know it's a lot of people. I'm just speaking gibberish here because, yo, I'm seeing up to 8,000, but for me, who have been doing this thing since, like, I've been really consistent with it since November or December of last year. I know that this is such a very big feat for me. Currently, as I'm talking to you, before I started to record, I got another new subscriber. So my last count was 741. And just before I started recording, I got a new subscriber. So shout out to you guys. I'm so happy. I'm really happy. I decided that I was going to talk about it, and thank you guys. Apparently, all my begging worked out, you know. And yeah, this is not for you guys to relent. If you have been sharing, if you have subscribed, thank you so much. God bless you. If you are yet to, please kindly do that. And for those of you guys who keep sharing my work, I'm so grateful to you guys, and those of you who always make it a point of duty to comment and like. Thank you again as well. I'm very grateful to you, and I know that you guys will not stop here. You will keep doing this thing to put, much more smiles on my face. You guys, just look how happy I am. Yeah, look how happy I am. It is you guys that do this for me. Yes, that's the good news. Now, before we jump into the conversation, something else I also want to point out. So, I got a couple of texts from some of you guys who might have insinuated that I do not focus on my camera lens, when I am talking. And some even went as far as saying that I have a teleprompter, which is the reason why I probably look towards the side sometimes and whatnot. That's really absurd. Yes, it is really absurd. For some of them, I just put laugh out loud, and then for others, I don't know why you would come into my DM to come and tell me that, fine, I get that, like, you can try to help me by suggesting what you think would help me blow my channel, right? And my podcast, in general. But it is somehow for you to jump into conclusion and say that, oh, I have this thing scripted out. And yes, even if I do have it scripted out, whose business is that? I don't know. Is it a crime to have it scripted out? But I know that I have mentioned on this podcast, not once, but at least twice, that my shows are not scripted. One even went to speak to my friend. I think that was earlier in the year, maybe around May or so, that they should talk to me. That I make it so obvious that I'm looking at a teleprompter. I have not been able to get, I don't know how much a teleprompter costs, but I'm not going to try and put it on the same scale as something else, but I've been trying to get something very, very important that I've not been able to get, and getting a teleprompter is not it's not something, I don't want to speak too much grammar, but no. Anytime you see me doing like this or doing like this, it's probably because, not even probably, it's because I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Because again, this is unscripted. Really unscripted. And I think I've had a guest episode with 2 people that I have had to sort of give them questions before time because they asked for it. So please, I don't know where you guys are getting that from, that I am reading from somewhere, or it's annoying. Quite frankly, it's very, very insulting. It's actually very, very insulting, but okay, love and light. If you have suggestions for how I can blow my podcast, please keep them coming, but please, in your suggestion, don't insult me. Like, to be frank, I don't take kindly to insults, but I'm very much open to suggestions and whatnot. But if you say something that sounds remotely as close as derogatory, it won't be funny. Yeah, so that's it. Again, thank you. I know you guys are trying to look out for me, but please don't insinuate things that sounds really insulting. But anyway, that's on that. I don't want to waste anybody's time, so I'm just going to go and read the stuff. Okay, so the first one is from my friend. Like I said, he was supposed to be on the show as at the time that we had. Again, I'm thinking, anytime I look up, I'm trying to put my thoughts together. There is nothing in my front that I'm looking at. I have a laptop that I read from, which is the questions that I get sometimes. And outside of that, I don't know. You guys, please, thank you. My friend that was supposed to be on the show, on that episode where I talked about my generator catching fire. If you guys can remember, I don't know what month that was, maybe September or October. I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, that's Tunde. We still have not been able to reschedule that episode. Because again, the studio I was trying to work with, it didn't fall through. So, I don't know, maybe next year. But for now, let's just stick to having me as a guest and a presenter on the show, and a host rather on the show. Now, the question said, why do women naturally see it as a big deal to spend on their men? When they eventually do, it's like they start counting favors. For context, a man bought his babe an iPhone 14 and she bought him a bracelet. He's mad about it and talks to her, and she's being defensive that she stood by him and blah blah blah, which I generally think is because of the sex that I think anyone can get for 20k in Abuja. Again, this is from Tunde. Again, for context, this didn't come in under the Q&A thingy that I have on my YouTube and Instagram. If you have been thinking about how I get these questions, if you go to my Instagram bio, or you go to my profile, I would call it now, on YouTube, you would see a link that would directly take you to where you can do a topic suggestion or ask a question that you want us to talk about or deliberate about on the podcast. So yeah, he had texted me saying that his friend is currently having this problem with the girlfriend, and the girlfriend is being defensive. I think that my first response to him had been that, oh, did he talk to his babe about it? And that was when he said, oh yes, he did bring it up, and she was going, oh, I've stood by you since when you didn't have nothing, now blah 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 blah. And I laughed. And I laughed because another person I've been trying to get on the show, he has been sort of dodging me. He has been dodging me. He took me and my friend, he took Helen and I to see somebody some time ago. And while he drove us to and fro, he was also lamenting on how he had gotten his babe gifts, and on a regular he comes through for her and all that. And on his own birthday, they bought him a bracelet. And so when he asked me this, and it was like, oh, because you spoke on relationship and whatnot on the podcast, what's your opinion about this? And I got catapulted back to last year, or earlier in the year, I think it's December or January, where that my other friend spoke to me about this. And what I would say is that I think that generally women are created to receive and not to give. Yes, you can quote me anywhere. I don't care. But I think women are conditioned to always take. Okay, so if we go back to pre-colonial, post-colonial, 20th century up until this point, this 21st century where a lot of things are, starting to change and whatnot. In our African context, I know that what we have been conditioned to know is men are supposed to be providers and women are supposed to be home takers or caretakers for both the man and the children. So in essence, it is the men who are supposed to go out and bring in stuff for women. Now, I don't think we were ever conditioned to think of, reciprocating gifts. Yes, that's that, right? Now, on the other hand, I know fully well that it hurts that you give a gift as big as that to somebody, and then during your time, they give you something that seems a lot worthless. And I remember stating again that I think if you give a gift to somebody and you're expecting a gift of equal measure, then it wasn't a gift in the first place. I want that to sink in. I know that we live in a selfish world, and I know that people are always going to be thinking about themselves. Me all the time. But then again, if you genuinely mean to give a gift to somebody, be it a man or a woman, and you are expecting that gift back in return, then it wasn't a gift in the first place. You did it just so that you guys can exchange. A gift is supposed to be something that comes from you, from your heart, and not really necessarily that you expect something back in return. But because I've had so many men, even my close friends, talk about this thing over and over again, I know that it is hurtful for you to consider somebody as important, like really, really important, for you to give them something from your hard-earned money, and at the same time, they look at you and buy you boxer. Because I know the babe bought the boyfriend a boxer, a set of boxers. And it's weird because I don't know how I learned it, but I know I've shared the story on this podcast where I think during my GSS2, somebody gave me a phone, and a brand new phone, and because my bird open and close phone the speaker had spoiled because it fell into water, and I had rejected it because I had somehow known that life is a bit of give and take. So nobody really gives you something not expecting a form of kindness back in return. Maybe there are people who give gifts, for the sake of giving gifts, and do not necessarily want anything in return. But I think a larger percentage of people want to be loved the way that you love them as well. And I think that a lot of men are now coming to realize that, oh, I want to be pampered as well. Oh, I love gifts as well. And I think that the way that you can help women to come into that space with you is speaking with them. And something else I had said was that, for me, I think that giving of gifts is a debt. Because I feel like if somebody gives me something, as little as food, in a way, I'm compelled to... I'm not saying this because I want to always reciprocate, but I think it's something that has been ebbed or etched in my mind that if somebody does something nice for me, I owe them a certain form of kindness as well. I don't know how to explain it, but for me, it's always like, oh, if you do something nice for me, I have to try my possible best to be there for you, even if I can't give you that same thing in return, probably because of my financial status. So I know that giving of gift is something that I may not necessarily think about, except for me, my love language is act of service. So if my friends are going through something, I want to be there for them. I want to call, I want to help out, and blah, blah, blah. Now, for somebody else whose love language is not that, who is gift given, I have to think and sort of bring myself into that space where I am going out of myself to help this person because I know that this is what this person needs at that point in time. Love language is a topic that I have scheduled with somebody since August, but we've not been able to record it, But I don't want to speak, on it as much. But I know that giving of gift is a debt, especially when it comes to birthdays. So if you give me a gift on my birthday, in a way, I am forced to have to think about returning a gift to you in equal measures. And I think also is that thing where we started to talk about it further, and I realized that I have actually broken up with somebody in the past because he wasn't giving me money. And I was discussing it with somebody else. We're just speaking randomly, a guy, a man, and we had also spoken about it in a way. And I said that the thing with us humans is we like to form moving with the crowd. And that moving with the crowd mentality is the reason why people say some kind of things on the online sometimes. And it sounds like, oh, you must be a very silly person to have this kind of mentality. And I'm like, can you guys get off your high horses and think? I'm going to share that story here. I don't care whether you judge me for it or not. Now, I was with this person and it was sort of a godly relationship, but it didn't mean that we were not seeing from time to time. We had to see from time to time. At the time, I was working as a teacher and I was earning 7,000 naira. Now, because when we started to date, we were living a bit close, not in the same vicinity, but we were living a bit close. It's not far, right? And then eventually my parents had to move. And when they moved, of course, we still had to see, right? It also meant that because there was a larger space in his house and his family was very comfortable with me, it was okay for me to sit down in the living room with everybody and just talk and whatnot. And eventually, I found that that relationship went on for 3 years. The entire first year, I was always the one going to see him. And now, because my salary was 7,000 naira, it meant that if I remove 2,000 naira to go and see my boyfriend, I have to sort of manage, like really extremely manage what I have to survive till the end of the month. The next year, it was the same thing. And by the third year, I didn't even think about it until the third year. And by the third year, it started to really weigh on me because now I have to keep factoring, I have to go and see this person. At least we have to see. It wasn't even like we're seeing a lot, but it was just taking a toll on me because I had to sit down and think about it. This was before I got into uni, right? I had to sit down and think about it like, wait, why am I really in this thing with this person? And if at that time, it felt like maybe this wasn't the time for us to be getting into a relationship because I was truly broke, like broke. And I knew that I am not the person, even right now, I am not the person that would ask a man to give me money. So whoever I'm dating, if you're not emotionally intelligent for you to understand that, this is how much this babe is earning from her job, and this is how much she is, using to sort bills for the month. So how do I expect her to have this amount of money to buy me gifts? If you can't think about that, then I have no business being with you. So by the time we got into the third year, and I really started to think about it, and I'm like, wait, this person has never as much as offered me 1,000 naira to say, because I know you are earning so little, let me give you this amount of money in support of your transport fare. I'm not even saying give me money to buy clothes or whatever. Like, you should be able to have sense to the point where you're like, okay, let me help this girl with transportation fare. And so when I see people on internet sometimes saying, I'm inviting a person to dinner and the person is paying, yes, except you don't know the financial capability of this person, or you assume because you're seeing that this person wears nice clothes and posts on the internet every now and then, you think, they are financially capable to foot their bills to and fro. And it's nothing insulting. I think because of the way social media has made not having money look, people are now ashamed to come out and say, I'm living earnestly, and because I have so and so responsibilities to cater to for this month, I cannot afford to come out and see you. I've also said on this podcast where when I was in uni, my friend Caleb would ask me, let's go out to dinner, and I would quickly say, I don't have money to pay for my food. And he'd be like, no, I'm asking to buy you food, not that you need to pay. And, a lot of people, maybe a lot of girls are not so forthcoming, and maybe that's why. So if you've been dating somebody for a while, I feel like you are supposed to know their financial capability. In the words of my friend, the babe he was dating or trying to date, that he bought an expensive gift for, and they also bought him a bracelet. He was saying that, I know where you work, I know how much you earn. You could have set aside some amount of money to be able to buy me something tangible. And maybe I understand that. Clearly, I understand that. And I've also been in a situation where I didn't date for like so many years after uni. Because after that person, I said I broke up is because I felt like I was being emotionally drained because I kept thinking, this person couldn't even think that I needed to support this girl. Let me even help the little way that I can. It didn't occur to him. And I kept also wondering, was there somebody else that he was doing all of these things for? Is it because I don't ask him? And again, I would never want to change my person because of you. If you cannot think of something that you're supposed to do as a person for me, then there's no point. I won't be that person that will ask you for money. And at the point where I open my mouth and ask you for money, it's over. Because he must be a really silly person not to know. So after him, I sort of stayed away because I kept thinking, I'm too broke to be with somebody. I have nothing to offer this person in terms of when you offer me a gift. So again, to me, a gift is a debt. So if you're buying me gifts and I can't buy you gifts in return, then there's a problem. And then there's also that thing with, I know some of my friends have done this where they don't have a job and they're currently going through it. and the partner does something really nice for them, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to try as much as possible, even if it's to keep 1,000 naira aside and buy this person gift. I feel like gift giving is a conscious effort. Especially, it becomes a very conscious effort, especially for women, because not a lot of people know that they're supposed to give gifts in return, or sort of reciprocates kindness. Let me put it that way. The kindness I was given should be given in return. The same way, people that have gifted me things this year have also tried one way or another to be able to. It's humanity. I'll put it that way. Anybody who gives you something is expecting something in return. It's just the way of the world. And even if it's not monetary or the same value, they just expect that maybe you give them a lot more time or you give them a lot more attention. Yeah, but the part where the baby was getting defensive, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Again, like I said, women are not brought up to be givers, especially to men in a relationship with. And people who do, because they don't want to be insulted, like me. I don't ever want to feel like, oh, it's because you're from a poor background, or it's because your parents cannot. So if you give me something that I know I can't pay back, or I know that you're trying to use this thing to trap me, then I absolutely will not collect it from you. But something as a birthday gift, I absolutely will collect it. But I know that I'm going to mentally put it down that on your own birthday, I'm going to try as much as possible to do the bits that I can. And if I can't do it then, on a very random day, I can just say, oh, let me buy you airtime. Or, oh, let me do this for you. And yeah, that's just it. And this other thing that he mentioned, that he was like, I've done so much for you, and I think sex you can get in Abuja for 20k. I feel like this is something I want to talk about separately. There is a relationship between sex and money that I don't want to talk about it today because it's going to be really long, and we have an actual question that somebody sent in. This thing is already gone more than halfway the time that I had planned for it. There is a relationship between sex and money, and so what I would say is, if you think that you are with a person who you expect to give you money, especially because you're having sex with them, please let them know. And if you think you're with a person who you cannot give money to because you think you can get sex from outside for less amount of money, then probably break up and go out there and have sex with the people. So if you also think that, oh, I can't be with this person because it doesn't give me money, break up as well. But what I will not do is be taken for a fool. What I will not advise anybody to be taken for a fool. If you are with a person who doesn't know to give, it's different. You can have a conversation with this person and you guys can resolve, right? But if you're with a person who you have told constantly that, I like gift giving, and the person tells you to your face that I can't give you gifts, then maybe you guys have no business being together. How you want to be loved is not how I might want to be loved. So people should be given what they want, not what you think they want. So that's where I'll end this one. Later in the year, or the beginning of next year, I'll talk about sex and money. But yeah, that's where I'll end that. Now, the person who sent in a question actually said, I have a child. I am co-parenting with my baby daddy. And I have someone I'm currently dating. We've been seeing each other for about a year, and he accuses me of having a soft spot for my baby daddy. And I don't deny it because, to be frank, this is almost 10 years of history between us. What does he want me to do? Am I truly still in love with my baby daddy? From Cynthia. Yes, you are. And I think that it is this sort of behavior that keeps making men think that Okafor's law exists. That thing where a person breaks up with you, or no, I'm going too far. That thing where a person doesn't think you're worthy to be a wife or a partner, breaks up with you, and then for a very weird reason, it keeps perambulating around you. It keeps perambulating and revolving around you, and you think that, oh, I just have a soft spot for him. Maybe one day the curtain will fall and he will see me for who I truly am and we'll be together for the rest of our life. Wake up. You hear me? Wake up from your dream. A man that doesn't want you enough to be a partner should not have access to you. There's a difference between raising a child together and having conversations that pertains to the child, right? Which is completely off case from you having a soft spot for him. Meaning that he asks you out to dinner and you say, oh, for the sake of the child, I'm going. Meaning that he calls you in the middle of the night and you pick up his call. Meaning that he probably comes to the house sometimes and you guys become sexual all over again. And now you are telling us, oh, you have 10 years of history. Nope. Boundaries, people. Boundaries. You can absolutely co-parent a child with somebody and not give yourself to that person. Because, to be frank with you, it's an insult to the person you're currently with. If you know you have a soft spot for this person, then go and be with the person. But he doesn't want to be with you in that way. Right? So I think it's that thing where we women give so many men power over us. And I think it's because we don't think about the hurts that have cost us. We think about the good parts. There was a reason you guys are not together, right? There was a reason you guys broke up. There's a reason you guys are not together. Focus on that reason, Cynthia. Yes, focus on that reason. The reason why he doesn't think you are enough for him. Focus on it. And I assure you, if you start to draw the line between what he cannot ask you anymore and having conversations that pertains to your child, you will get the memo. And if truly he wants you and maybe is as a result of something else, you guys can get back together. But if it's as a result of, oh, I want you, but I don't want you enough for keeps, at the same time, I don't want somebody else to have you, then it's a mess that you've put yourself in, and only you can bring yourself out of that situation. Boundaries. Boundaries. Create boundaries. Create disparity between the things that he can talk to you about and the things that he cannot have access to. And I know it's hard, maybe not, I don't know. But you need to be able to set boundaries. And that's it. That's just it. So yeah, this is where I'm going to end this episode for today. I did not intend that this thing will get to 30 minutes even, but here we are. Again, thank you guys to my 742 subscribers. I love you guys. Thank you so much and see you next week.